in the words of Robert Frost, two roads diverged in the woods. I took the road less traveled, and I think that's something that made all the difference. There also, I think I used to host for the IIT, ITBHU as a part of the Banaras Hindu University campus. I met her in one of the restaurants and I asked her, you're doing a great job. Are you from the organization? That's what I thought. She said, I get paid to talk.
TV show presenters worldwide like Oprah.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks, one of the best possible actors. Are there any mental exercises or self-talk that you do before an event? Are there any voice exercises that you follow?
That's why we always say that we're as good as our last show. And Alia Bhatt, she was asked at one of the interviews, what is the backstory you tell yourself before it says lights, camera and action?
He always jumps in on the trampoline for tens of minutes.
Yeah.
That is one of the reasons, amongst many reasons, the energy levels is shown in this show.
He actually ended up appearing on the stage. Kishore, would you believe that it was 30 minutes that we had to kill on the stage? If you are somebody as a public figure, you can earn at the moment, and I'm putting it out in the universe here, Kishore, for the first time publicly, I guess. इतना पढ़ाई करती थी, यही करना था तो पढ़ाई क्यों करी?
You ever wondered what it takes to own the stage and keep your audience hooked, whether in a boardroom or a star-studded event? Today, we have Ms. Shikha Singh, one of India's top MCs. With 1,500 plus events across corporate, sports, lifestyle, road shows, gala events and much more, she's shared the stage with icons like Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Ms. Susmita Sen and many more. A Business World MC of the Year awardee, she knows how to command attention. But what's the secret to keeping an audience engaged? How does she prepare for high-stakes events? And what can we learn from her about confidence and communication? If you want to speak with impact, stay tuned.
Hi Shikha, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming from Mumbai to Bangalore for this. Let's get this started.
Sure, I'm equally excited and I can't wait to talk it out.
Great. Shikha, can you please take us through your journey, from when you first thought of becoming an MC to winning India's best MC in the year 2022?
So, Kishore, I would say, in the words of Robert Frost, two roads diverged in the woods. I took the road less traveled, and I think that's something that made all the difference. I think I can vaguely remember this was something that I did since my school and college days. Like, I used to be that one dedicated anchor since I think my class 7th.
Okay.
I guess the teacher's sense that came naturally to me. So in cities like tier 2, tier 3 cities, back then in the year 2005, 2007 is when I'm talking about, you'd be more exposed to taking those traditional routes to career choices when I say. But people in Mumbai, right since their early schooling or college days, they would actually know and they would choose their college depending on what is that vocation they want to pursue. So I think that is one difference. Despite being that one designated anchor, I was oblivion of the fact that this is something that I want to do in life. So the first time when I professionally did this was in the year 2015 in Mumbai.
Okay.
I had a brief stint with the corporates, having done my MBA, my master's in business administration from one of the prestigious institutions, Banaras Hindu University. There also, I think I used to host for the IIT, ITBHU as a part of the Banaras Hindu University campus.
Right.
And I used to do this, but never knowing that this is what my calling is, this is what my passion is. But when I came to Bombay, I did realize, seeing one of the anchors hosting in one of the events that my company had sort of sponsored and partnered with. So that's when I met her in one of the restaurants and I asked her, you're doing a great job. Are you from the organization? That's what I thought. She said, I get paid to talk. I said, wow, that's interesting. And that's when I actually get to know that there's something like a live events host. I never knew, apart from news anchors, that this is a career choice as well. That is how it started for me.
Okay.
And till now, I think winning it, it's been quite a ride. But of course, in our conversation going ahead, I will share how has the learning been and how from the imposter syndrome, I would rather emerge as a more confident being.
Shikha, when you mentioned the word imposter syndrome, when I've read across the best possible personalities across sectors, be it TV show presenters worldwide like Oprah, Tom Hanks, one of the best possible actors, You think of any possible people who have succeeded in life, be it Barack Obama to Michelle Obama, all of them have faced imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
They believe that they're not presentable, that will the audience end up knowing that they're not good at acting or so on and so forth. This is the fear of people like Tom Hanks, right? So I think
unbelievable, right?
absolutely, yeah. So Shikha, how many shows have you handled as an MC so far?
Right. This would be 1,200 plus shows at the moment. When I talk about the on-ground events, as you know, that the word unprecedented got redefined during the COVID times. So the virtual or the digital shows, somewhere around 400 plus. And in fact, I've been grateful to be one of the foremost MCs to foray into the digital events back then.
Okay.
We did a very interesting series of Mom's Magic. That's an ITC brand. And we started with doing something like live concerts on Instagram. So Instagram lives with those concerts.
And Shikha, few people do understand, but many do not understand what a professional role of an MC is. Can you please explain it for the benefit of the audience?
I think an MC is an event organizer's knight in the shining armor, Kishore. You are the troubleshooter, you are the crisis manager. There's so much of sweat and labor that goes into making of that one grand immersive experience that we call event. It's an experiential day, but it is an MC, allow me to say, that can make or mar that particular day. John T. Rhodes, I requested him for a testimonial that's there on my YouTube. He did say that even for a middle order batsman, for example, like me, he would say in the sequence of an agenda that's there, it is the MC that's the top batter. So you got to do the introduction right. You got to open the show right. Yeah. May I say that an MC is a sutradhar? By sutradhar, I would mean MC is somebody who would weave all the elements that you put in an agenda, a show flow, and ensures, like I said, a troubleshooter, no matter how much you prepare. And I would say that preparation helps you to ad-lib better. So an MC would ensure that it would appear flawless to the people. And even if there's like a glaring thing that it's obvious that, for example, somebody says chief guest is at the door, Shikha, begin the introduction, just with gestures, non-verbal gestures. And I say that, okay, let's please welcome so-and-so. And the person doesn't appear. You have to, at that time, it's glaring that the audience can see that the person has not appeared on the stage. At that time also, with your sheer wit or your humor or with your grace, an MC saves the day, I would say, for the brand, for the event organizer.
Shikha, typically public speaking is one of the biggest fears, right? There's a difference between how amateurs handle to how professionals like you handle.
Right.
So is it something that you do differently in terms of your approach? So be it in terms of script preparation that you were talking about, or are there any mental exercises or self-talk that you do before an event? Are there any voice exercises that you follow? If you could just give us a glimpse of what you do in terms of preparation for the event.
Kishore, that's the elephant in the room, I would say, when you say mentally sort of handling it. So out of the 4 fears that a human has, you're right. You very rightly said that this is one of the primal fears. And some people say, and the research shows that it's a fear that is considered even larger than the
death.
Yeah, the fear of death. So yes, it's a real fear. That is true. But I think it is so true for any work that we do that the more you do it, the better you become. That's why we always say that we're as good as our last show. Stay hydrated. That's what I did before even walking in, that I drank water before starting this podcast. Second,
breathe in, breathe out.
Yes. So deep breathing may sound cliched, but it definitely helps. Your exhalations should always be greater than your inhalation. The amount of time you spend on your exhalations, for example, 3 seconds for an inhale. So it should be 5 seconds for an exhale. Visualization is one technique, Kishore, which like a footballer would visualize that goal being made. What is the feeling you experience when a show goes well, when that goal is being made, when you hit that 6? So when you're batting it out of the park, the best feeling you could experience is actually being nervous. Call it a positive nervousness. Now, with a decade, I'm not equally always as nervous that I used to be. every show, like I would always say, no show is big or small,
Yeah.
but there are shows when you have higher stakes. Suppose if you're hosting the Honorable Defense Minister of the country,
Yeah.
on the physicality part of it, like what can you physically do to feel better or feel more in sync with the moment, is something that please take care of the presentability part of it. If you're dressed better, you feel more confident. And Alia Bhatt, she was asked at one of the interviews, what is the backstory you tell yourself before it says lights, camera, and action? She said, why should I share? What is my backstory? Because everybody has a technique. There's a backstory for me, that one line that I tell before it's lights, camera, and action for me, and before it says that Shikha, you're live, is that at the risk of saying God forbid, I tell myself that today is your last show. Today is your last show. It's the last day you're living. Give it your best that you can.
Shikha, when you were talking about your preparation before you get into the stage, I remember reading about Tony Robbins. Amongst many things that he does, he always jumps in on the trampoline for tens of minutes.
Yeah.
That is one of the reasons, amongst many reasons, the energy levels is shown in the show. Right? Yeah. So, Shikha, when I was listening to you earlier, you had mentioned saying that you do prepare well, but no matter what you prepare, is the words that you used. Can you speak about the challenging moment that you faced on stage, amongst many moments that you would have faced, and how exactly did you handle it?
Yes, it was one of our public servants who was supposed to appear on the stage.
Okay.
And from a point that is just going to, which was a miscommunication by one of the coordinators who was there from the agency, to the point he actually ended up appearing on the stage. Kishore, would you believe that it was 30 minutes that we had to kill on the stage? Those 30 minutes is something that had to be shown in such an experiential way to the audience. So how do you engage our audience? There's a lot of time that your speakers are the seasoned specialist who want to do that talk. They do not want your presenter to talk so much. So you have to also learn the art of brevity. For example, if this minister did not turn up in time, it's a common thing that we, for example, if we are sitting in Bengaluru, there are 10,000 things that we can say in a good, nice way, without, of course, hurting the sentiments of the people. You could always, what I do is use a self-deprecating humor, or you can do a punching up where you elevate your audience more. Like, an audience always feels nice when they feel above or equal to you. I think I did something like this. I immediately asked the showrunner to download some of those tech tunes. It was an IT event, and like I told you, and we downloaded some of those tunes, like a Nokia tune, a dot matrix printer tune. I asked them to play those tunes, and I asked them to guess and tell us what is that first memory that is associated. Now, of course, I do make a bank, like Roshan Abbas, who's such an amazing wordsmith and a storyteller himself. He remembers from his emceeing days that he would always, and this was very me as well. Since I was a child, I would make those vocabulary diaries and all of that. And now I make that bank wherein I have a list of questions for my rapid fire. Of course, we improvise with every show. But like, I would also have those engagement ideas. So for example, if there's a faux pas, or there's a time that you need to kill, but for the audience in a way to engage them, I would use those engagement ideas, those icebreakers from my bank.
Shikha, how do you read your audience, and how do you adapt when they're not engaging with your content?
Kishore, I have to first compliment you, because I have to acknowledge all the good research that you have done. It's such a befitting question, because like, you're treating the audience and we are treating our viewers as the ultimate thing. How I would do is, I would go to them and I would say, come up with that one adjective that defines you. As, like, I think we did that at our show as well.
Absolutely.
And that should define you as a person. And the moment they say, you give them that room, that they're talking about themselves. Why I said listening is so important. The moment they feel that they are valued and their quality is being celebrated. This is just one of the ways. The audience questions, Q&A, is always targeted towards the end. But why? Ask them so that they feel involved, that they are the real heroes who can ask. A moderator is just doing their job. So as long as, and I think one of the greatest leaders, Nelson Mandela, also did the same. He would go with his father to all those tribal meet. He was a tribal chief, his father. And one thing his father would always do is sit in a circle And second, the father would always speak in the last.
Yeah.
So it is always
I've read
nice.
this, yeah.
Generally, I'm saying in a conversation,
Yeah.
if you let the other person speak. I would also say that humor always doesn't maybe coming naturally to most of us, but try including some bit of it if you can. So
Right.
these are the things that you can sort of garner their attention, or ask them to repeat a thing that you've just said in your presentation, and maybe do some poll, maybe do some giveaways, maybe ask them something. Maybe there's no giveaway, but the whole point is that you build up excitement. No prizes for guessing this one, but what do you think I just said? And one of my fondest clients, Indian Express, and there's one of the editors I really look up to is Mr. Shrikant. So I would say, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause. They would always have an event, which is the Technology Sabha, which is their flagship event. And I would always say, ladies and gentlemen, let's clap a lot. Let's give it a round of applause. So I devised so when I was talking about vocabulary and I digressed, I would devise different terms for applauses also. Let's pump it up. Let's give it a notch up. Let's double up the enthusiasm, all of that. So I'm thinking that I'm doing a great job by saying it in very different styles. But at the end of the day, you're asking them to applaud. Yeah. Not every audience would always love to applaud. When it comes to government stakeholders, we know for a fact that they are a little more sober, they're a little more serious. So does it mean that you do not engage with them? No, the answer is no. He did say that do not maybe ask them, Mr. Shrikant did tell me that do not ask them to applaud so many times. Let it be a natural flow for them. So I would do that, but I would do that not incessantly, but I would do that maybe more during the awards gala, a little less during the conference. I think the whole presence, the whole thing that they're paying attention towards the stage in itself is an engagement, in itself is an involvement. So not every vibe will demand a round of applause. So this is something that was a learning for me as well. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Shikha, shifting from here to marketing, how do you market yourself as an MC?
The greatest platform to market yourself is that very platform you are at. If the audience likes your work, typically it would happen that at the end of the show, they would come and they'll shake hands and they would say that, oh, we know that the most ungrateful job is what you do, so let me say a thank you to you. So they would do that, and then they would rather ask for exchanging business cards. Now, this is one thing, maybe I'm very old school, but business cards is something that I do not carry, like paper business cards. I would say that, okay, can we connect on LinkedIn, please? So, of course, that ways we can get connected. But the whole point I'm trying to make is do your job well, and the word of mouth is the greatest way that you would get more work, you can market yourselves.
Anything beyond word of mouth, LinkedIn? Anything else that you do?
Right. So LinkedIn and Instagram is something that I would make sure, and a lot of people would ask, what do you do when you are not emceeing? Trust me, Kishore, and you would know you're a content creator yourself, and a wonderful one at that it takes so much of time to manage your own social media. I've had a team for a very brief amount of time, and this is something that maybe would be on the cards, but for now I manage my own bit. Audience loves your vulnerability. Yeah. So even when it comes to posting your stuff on social media to market yourselves, wherein you're putting all those amazing pictures, your show reels, your whatever work you've done, be it celebrities, be it anything, how you're engaging, any work that you put. So I make it a point that all my shows, big or small, get showcased on my particular page on Instagram and LinkedIn.
So yeah, Shikha, I just wanted to know, when you started, what was the fee range for MC per show, and where is it right now for the best of the MCs in the country? What is the fee that they earn per show?
Right. So you could start with as small as 5,000 rupees for activation events. So back then, I think my first paycheck was 8,000 rupees. Okay. And okay, so when we talk about MCs, it could be a celebrity MC or a non-celebrity MC. Okay. Both could be live event MC. But for that matter, if you are somebody as a public figure, you can earn at the moment maybe 4 lakhs and beyond.
For sure.
Yes, that's right. And if you are a non-celebrity MC, typically where the genre where I would be, of course, starting from as low as 5,000 to something over a lakh to 2 lakhs. But beyond 3 to 4 lakhs, you need to have that kind of sort of presence amongst the people.
This fee is on top of your travel, accommodation, and all other expenses?
So we, in our parlance, we call it TBL, travel, boarding, and lodging.
Okay.
90 to 95% of the times, this is always taken care by the organizers. Whenever it is supposed to be taken care, like one of the big media houses, they pay like a lump sum amount, for example, to me. So in that, then you need to quote
Manage
your
everything on your own.
commercials.
Okay. MCing doesn't give you fixed income. How do all MCs navigate the financial uncertainties in this business?
I think, yes, that's one thing why many people cannot immediately leave their job and jump into this full time. In fact, I took 2 years and because of this sort of uncertainty, I thought. But thankfully, Kishore, I think in my case, God has been really, really kind that I've honestly not worked too much on the other streams of earning income.
Okay.
However, at the moment, of course, whatever you earn, thankfully, there's been touch with good business. So there's not been a need to till now. But having said that, I am planning in the same arena that I am in. I do intend, and with your podcast being live today, I do give it out, manifest in the world that I do feel that there's a skill gap, especially when you talk about folks in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, city to which I belong, and they to compete with their peers from the metropolitan cities. I do feel that communication is that one life skill that, despite them being talented, is still keeping them away from those top positions. Even when you talk about management, even when you talk about the top leaders, if they cannot communicate well, they cannot communicate that vision or idea. So I do wish, and I'm putting it out in the universe here, Kishore, for the first time publicly, I guess, I do intend to have my own finishing school, wherein I bridge that gap and I also connect these people in terms of how they communicate well, how in terms of etiquettes, be it dining, be it grooming, be it talking, presenting, and how they're able to better face the world. So this is the idea that we start small and both electronically. I'm thinking from actually a smaller town.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm actually thinking, and maybe because it's always you have more resources.
Mumbai for people who are coming from smaller towns and accessing. You're going directly to smaller towns and giving them this opportunity.
Yes, smaller towns physically, if you want to do that, but digitally, the cost structure. And also the nuggets that I will be producing and I would be shooting content for them is something that would be accessible to everybody, be it any city, any level. But in terms of physically fructifying it, of course, it's a big vision that way. There's something that would be more fulfilling, that encompasses all sorts of talking and I think connecting with people. So that's a plan.
Okay. For MCs, Shikha, what career opportunities exist beyond MCing?
Voice acting that you could do. You could also be a trainer in the sense of not just soft skills, but even beyond your negotiation, your leadership trainings, all of that. So a training consultant, you could also do, so training, voice acting. I would say, why not? Like a Kubra Setu, she's become an actor. So I think the room exists without a roof. You could be anything that you'd want to. Also, I would say being the keynote speaker, moderating the different panel discussions, like I moderated a wedding panel discussion that happened when I got the award for the business world. So there I realized that, I can also actually be a moderator, and there are people who have quit their jobs and have become full-time session panel discussion moderators.
Got it. Shikha, does this profession have a shelf life? Which by that I mean, with age, do opportunities reduce?
Kishore, this is something that I'm myself exploring, because trust me, there are umpteen number of people who would come to me and say that iski to limited life hai, kitne saal kar logi, 5-6 saal, and trust me, even the family when I had started until date, they would say, aur kitne saal, 10 saal aur, right? Like thankfully they would tell me, okay, you're blessed with looks that don't make you look as old as you are. But again, the whole thing about the looks, the age, there's some wonderful anchors whom we already see. There's Gitika. I think I had this chat once with her. it's a very limiting belief that it has a shelf life, while traditionally even the biggest of the people, even a lot of brands, I've heard this so many times that it has a limited shelf life. Somehow this one fear I never had, and I do think that if your content shines, if you're able to connect to your audience, if you're great at it, there's so much. Like you can also venture into news anchoring. Did we ever say that news anchoring has a shelf life? So why a live events host? People often associate the glamour quotient, the glam with it, but I think you could be glamorous at any age. So maybe, for example, if the prerequisite for an actor, for example, they only need a actor from 20 to 30 age group, I think it's more maybe in acting, but not in our profession as much. Even if there is, there will always and always, that's one thing that I believe, that there's no dearth of opportunities. There'd always be something. What's meant for you will come to you.
Shikha, interestingly, this profession has gender bias. Most of them prefer a woman MC over the other gender.
Yeah.
But when it comes to our society, typically men going and taking up any roles, people are usually okay. Families, especially from our generation. How did your family react to when you took up this role?
They said कि अच्छी खासी सेमी गवर्नमेंट जॉब है, तो इतना पढ़ाई करती थी, यही करना था तो पढ़ाई क्यों करी, was the first reaction, including my siblings and parents, because like I said, being from Lucknow, they had never seen, I mean, even I didn't know what's a live events host. So forget, I give them that benefit of doubt, I would say, because they doubted what they had not seen. So we never knew what a live events MC is like. Now they know. And of course, once you prosper, beat anything, the confidence in you grows.
What you meant is basically the family's intention was always right. They really cared for you and they were worried.
And they were a service class.
Yeah.
They are a service class background. So they only believed in the service class jobs only. Yeah. They do believe in a 9 to 5. And even till date, the notion hasn't completely changed, because when I take a 2 a.m. flight, they're like, why are you doing this? Why are you slogging so much?
When you're mentioning the 2 a.m. flight, Shikha, your profession involves a lot of travel and late nights, right? How do you balance your career with your family life?
Yeah. So they often say, and especially for women, they say it's like a tightrope to balance the two. But Kishore, I would say that not all days are same. The days when it is events, the family knows it's going to be crazy. She wouldn't even sometimes maybe not have a meal. Like initially when I navigated that fear of going on stages again and again, I would not eat the whole day, and I feel that, I cannot do any other activity except going through my bit, that what I need to present and what mental talks I need to give. But now it's better. Of course, it's much more calm. It's more comforting. You have everything by your side. You can eat, do whatever you want, and just make sure you do the job right. So that's what I tell myself. But it's not a balance, I would say. Those days, it's not a balance. I would say it's bettered, but it's not a balance. And hence, if you're choosing a partner to be with, choose a partner that definitely understands what kind of work, what kind of grill you need to do. When it's work, it might be 3 days. We were just discussing 3 days of back-to-back work. When it's not work, 5 days, I have no work and I'm going for a Kerala trip, for example. So you also have this beautiful liberty to live life on your own terms, in the sense that when it's off days, you can take it, you can vegetate on the bed, yes, and maybe say no to a show that doesn't resonate with your energy, for example. Choose your work. And so that is something that my family now has understood, that how demanding the thing is. Of course, they would always be concerned about the safety, whether I'm eating right, I'm feeding myself. That's something which, of course, I have also improved. But of course, when I'm home, I'm all theirs. And I would know how to do the management part right as well. So I think that way is all the greatest women, how they've done. I draw my inspiration from them, that we can manage both things.
Shikha, if you want to give one advice to anyone who's looking into getting this profession, what would that be?
That when you approach senior MCs, please do not say, I want to make pocket money, because this is not what gets you going with the 2 a.m. flights. I would say that to have genuine interest in it. The whole thing of going through the grueling hours or how demanding it is only when you're genuinely interested in it. Do you have the curiosity generally about the people whom you're going to be talking about on the stage? take it only not as a side money kind of a thing, but do it for the love of it, because you wouldn't be able to sustain, you wouldn't be able to be persistent if you take it casually. So the first thing is, ask yourself those right questions. We often say that many people are not able to come out of that question whether they should leave their job. Take it up full time, give it time, do some shows, see how the response has been. Also have lots of patience. Please do not think that you'll become an overnight success unless it's some spot you've hit where you become an overnight celebrity. So I think the greatest teacher for me, Kishore, has also been, I've learned to practice more patience. I'm hugely impatient. That helps when you want to do great things, do big targets and all of that. But to get more shows, like you would think that, oh, I'm having less shows this month, oh my God, like initially. But it takes time to build that whole brand, that whole image. So learn to have patience before you opt for this one. Really, if you want to do this, ask yourself. And for the love of it, for the craft of it, are you ready to go through the research? Are you ready to be genuinely interested, research, polish yourself, take care of your presentation? So all that comes with it. Watch out the videos of people who you think speak well, and see that what is your own style. How can you discover it? Do it for a few times along with a particular job or thing that you're doing. Once you think that it is also financially stable, what I did as well, 2 years I did it with my job. So that's when you can take a plunge, and always reach out to maybe seniors from your industry. One way of also getting work or asking is also approaching seniors in the same profession, or whether you're made for it is something you can only answer, but the guidance is something you can always get. I also took help from senior MCs, so yeah.
Got it. Great. Thank you so much, Shikha. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
you.
Thank you so much for watching the entire episode. Looking forward for your feedback. Please feel free to share the feedback in the comment section below, and let us know what kind of topics you would want to see and which kind of guests you would want us to invite. Your suggestions will help us bring more valuable content to you. Thank you.